Namaskarams and a very warm welcome to all viewers to Swara Saadhan's first event of the year 2021. This event is being held in collaboration with Saptaswara School of Music and the Madhuradwani School of Music. We are beginning the celebrations of the Maargasheersha Arts and Culture Festival, which begins today and will continue for the next 14 days. For the benefit of youngsters in the viewers, I would like to explain the significance of this tradition. The month of Margari, also known as Maargasheersha, typically begins in the month of December and goes up to mid-January. Maargasheersha is very auspicious for spiritual development through any path taken by the sadhaka, including sadhana, vrata, bhajan or puja. Today, we are very honored to begin this event with an extraordinary spiritual discourse by Shri S. Vishwanathan, fondly known as Sai Uncle. Sai Uncle needs no introduction, but for the benefit of those who are listening to his discourse for the first time, I will say a few words of introduction. Sai Uncle has been the guiding light for numerous Shirdi Baba devotees all over the world and has done human service to humanity through his valuable guidance, help, and advice, especially during times of need and distress. Sai Uncle is on a mission with an 8-dimensional message to humanity, particularly to Shirdi Baba devotees across the world. The Dwarkamai Puja, which was initiated by Sai Uncle, is done in Shirdi Baba's ubiquitous divine presence, which takes Sai devotees to a higher level of consciousness. Sai Uncle develops Shirdi Baba's theme very meticulously through Sai Satcharita stories and thousands of Anugraha miracles that devotees experience through their contact with him. His satsangs herald a bright new life for all those who attend them, while the Dwarkamai Puja has an everlasting effect on their lives. Sai Uncle presents Shirdi Baba in such pristine white beauty that it changes one's impression-laden consciousness into a pure white light. Through his efforts, our Sadguru Shirdi Baba becomes your Antaryami, giving you health, wealth, and happiness in life. This, in brief, is the essence of Shirdi Sai and Uncle's message. I now request Sai Uncle to grace this occasion with his blessing and spiritual discourse on Shirdi Baba.
My dear devotees, may this new year 2021 be blessed by Shirdi Baba so that all of you or all of us can lead a healthy, that's very important, healthy, happy and prosperous new life. And in this new year, no anxiety at all. I said no anxiety because the topic for the day, next 30 or 35 minutes will be, you are all very anxious for the last almost 10 months. I'm not getting into the reason for the anxiety. I'm going to tell you for anxious time, Shirdi Baba is the antidote. Or better simple English, Shirdi Baba is the answer. I told in one of the lectures 3 years ago, Shirdi Baba is the panacea for all the troubles in life. Since you are going through a lot of anxiety, Shirdi Baba is the only antidote. I'm going to prove with a few examples in the next 30-35 minutes. By the way, all of you are enjoying New Year from today. Some of you are planning a trip within the home, kitchen to the main room, or you're going to invite all the people, some of the people, very close ones, with a double mask, because you know you are suffering from, you're on a roller coaster of anxiety, and therefore you will ask them to wear double mask, and probably one mask, two gloves for both the hands, and 2 socks on the other thing, and then 3-4 dresses. That is called anxiety. You know the spelling. What is anxiety today? I'll read some statistics, of which there's a statistics galore in any TV, any channel, anywhere in the world. I'll give you only 3 of that. As of yesterday, or rather as of 12/12/2020 Saturday, 296,000 people have died in this great country, United States. That is approximately 300,000 people passed away because of, you know what, I don't even want to mention the name. In USA alone, in this country, 16 million people have been affected with the virus. I don't want to name that virus because I don't like the virus. Just like you all don't like the virus. Anybody who is loving the virus? Probably the CDC people would love the virus so that they can find an antidote, a vaccine, and then kill it. Dr. Fauci doesn't like this virus. And in the world, 78 million people have been affected. 78 million people out of so many billions. I have forgotten the world's population, 7 or 8 billion, right? 78 million people, 16 million people in the United States alone, and 296,000 persons, individuals have died. If this is not anxiety, what else is? Do you now see anxiety writ large on everybody's face? I'm not anxious because of this thing, because I predicted Pfizer and all other Lilly and all other so-called vaccines which are now in the field, which are about to be, today is 13th of December, it is being started in, at least in Texas today, the Pfizer vaccine. But then, when you are living amidst anxiety, there is some force in the world, there is some phenomenon in the world that says, this is the road, this is the way, you come with me and then everything is going to be all right. I can suggest, I can tell you so many stories from Satcharita, so many millions and hundreds and thousands of stories from the current life in the last 5 years alone, 10,000 stories in the last 5 years. But then I said, Happy New Year to you, 2021. From the times of Ramachandra Atmaram Thadukad, the most respectable Maharthiya, the Shirdi Baba devotee, the contemporary devotee of Shirdi Baba, to Mrs. Manager, a devotee par excellence, again who lived in his times, Shirdi Baba's times, down to Srimati Nandini, a current Houston devotee. Everyone has gone through very difficult times, very different times, anxious times. They all have gone through a roller coaster of anxiety and worry. Why is this roller coaster of anxiety? Because in these times, without the vaccine, you go out to supermarket, you go to Walmart, you go to India Bazaar, you go to Patel Brothers, some common names. In England, you go to Barnes & Noble. In Europe, in Paris, you go to that famous cafe near Eiffel Tower. In India, you go to Wango in the airport. That's a restaurant. Please come in. You go anywhere, there is COVID. There are some hundreds of bills saying that without the face mask, you cannot enter. Without the shoes, no service. No, that is not one of the conditions. This was a condition about 50 years ago in this country. Without a shirt, no service. Now, without a mask, no service. Without a gloves, don't even think of coming into the restaurant. And then at the restaurant, when you enter, the ubiquitous sanitizer is there. Everybody will be doing this. They are wringing their hands. Again, you find anxiety in wringing the hands because they say, oh, is it necessary? Some people will think, or is it some sweet potion, wine or something can be drink? Because it has got the wine color. Some of the antidotes to this face, this thing. Tarkad, Ramachandra Atmaram and Mrs. Manager and Srimati Nandini and so many other people, of 10,000 persons I can recite now, Colonel Parag in Ahmedabad, they all went through anxiety. Mrs. Parag was very, very anxious. But then I told you, there is a road on which you can travel. There is always a way. He always shows a way. When the fire broke out in a yard in Shirdi, where the food grains of the whole village was stored, the food grains of his town, of his city, village was stored, it was who? Shirdi Baba is the one who quelled the flames. This story I am not getting into, but Shirdi Baba said he came and quelled all the flames. You know the story. Let us go to the story again, Satcharita. When an epidemic of cholera broke out in Shirdi, he is the one who sprinkled, or he is the one who arranged to sprinkle what? Wheat flour on the boundaries of the village. He's the one again, he stopped cholera. He said there are 7 deaths, there will be one more death. There won't be any more deaths from tomorrow. And was there any death the next day? Satcharita says, no. He is the one who rescued Shri, a CEO in Austin, whose home was threatened by a fire raging across the area. It's called Steiner Ranch in Austin, and he has got $1 million, close to $1 million home. And the police helicopter was hovering above the home and above Steiner Ranch, asking everyone to get out of the area in the next 15 minutes. He called me. I said, the fire will not reach your home. There is only one reason, because you have a Dwarakamayi mandir in your home. The fire will stop across the street. He didn't believe. If you are a true believer in this Sadguru, gods are very envious of his qualities. You read everywhere, right? That is the quality of Sadguru. Gods want to be Sadgurus. They don't want to be gods. Gods first, Brahma created, who do you know whom? Brahma created somebody created Brahma, and then Lord Shiva, Vishnu ordered, you create man, you populate the world. He created in his likeness, he created the world. This is one theory, okay? There are Darwinian theory, there is Einsteinian theory, there is Raghumama theory. He's a PhD, therefore I included him in this galaxy of stars. He is the one who came to the rescue and protection of Sri Varadan and his wife Anita Varadan in Bangalore. These are great devotees in Bangalore right now. He created a quarantine. There is a group who had machetes drawn, knives drawn, guns drawn. They were trying to kill this family because there is a court case going on a property near Madurai across the river Godavari? No, river Vaigai. Vaigai river, Chodabandhan, Cheran Bandhan, meaning Chodan came to fight with Pandian, Meenakshi Devi's father. And there is a court case going on in that very place, Chodabandhan, and there was lots of nonsense created by the opposing group. Shirdi Baba quarantined everybody. I don't want to tell the virus name. He quarantined, and then Sri and Srimati Vardhan are very, very happy. Mama, how did he do that? He is doing it. There is no damage to your family, but he is doing, for the sake of protecting your family, there is damage to the whole world. Shirdi Baba once said, I am within you, you are within me. If you understand this divine equation, you will understand me very well. If you understand me very well, you will understand what? My Leelas. You will understand my blessings. You will understand my Leelas very well. And then, if you understand my Leelas, you will get all the solutions. That is the only reason, even this satsang on January 1st, there are so many of you listening to that, you will have a very healthy life. You will have several wonders, whereas the Leelas performed by this Sadguru. Colonel Parag, in November, last month, he suddenly had a chest pain. He was clinging to his chest pain when he was working in a very big, prosperous group in Ahmedabad, in India. He was suddenly hospitalized with a heart ailment, and the surgeons came and examined, the cardiologist and the cardio surgeons. They all said, you will have a bypass surgery. And immediately, his wife was extremely worried, alarmed, and then she was wringing her hands in what? Anxiety. The roller coaster anxiety. Because for anxious time, Shirdi Baba is the antidote. Remember this always. This is the only Taraka Mantra you got to remember. This is the only puja you got to perform. I dare say that because Shirdi Baba's Udi was given to Colonel Parag's wife. Another person of this group called me. I said, you have the Udi from me. You just pass it on. Half of it, you pass it on to Colonel Parag. He was one of the CEOs in the group. And this person's past manager. And the Udi was given to Colonel Parag in the ICU. The surgery was done. It was absolutely successful. And then he came after 4 days in the ICU. He came back home. And home is where Colonel Parag's story starts. Of course, home is where your story also starts, as the frame declares. Home is where everybody's story starts. Colonel Parag is now very happy. His wife is sans living, sans anxiety, without anxiety. If I tell you so many stories, I should tell you this story first. This is the story of one of the very fine devotees. And devotees have worries and anxieties when? Under what circumstances they have worries? Under the only circumstances of suffering from a disease, right? Suffering from some incurable disease, like Bhimaji Patil. Bhimaji Patil was not very old. He was only on the wrong side of 50. And then this gentleman is, devotee is from Narayangaon, Junnar Taluka. He had never gone to Junnar Taluka. He has never gone to Nara. He has gone only to the nearest Gaon. I forgot the name. He has gone to that Gaon. He has gone to Kopargaon. But then he is from Narayangaon, Pune district. He suffered from a deadly disease. It's called a TB. Very acute, and he was vomiting blood, and foam used to come out of his mouth every now and then, every few minutes. Shirdi Baba cured him by merely blessing him and without administering any medicine, any known medicine. His condition has been worsening steadily. He began passing blood and vomits and foaming of the mouth. He gave up all hopes of his life. He even thought he would end his life. When you are suffering from TB, when you are suffering from brain tumor, you ask those patients, the pain will be too much to bear. So a day came when he could not take it anymore, and then he thought of his best friend was Deputy Collector Nana Sahib Chandorkar. He wrote a letter to him saying that, I am going to end my life. When Nana said, don't end your life, the right thing to do is to come to Shirdi and see who? Shirdi Baba, Deva se milo. So he said, and then since Bhimaji was very close to Nana Sahib, after reading the letter, he is writing this back to Bhimaji Patil, and then because of his ties, he wanted to save Bhimaji. And therefore, Bhimaji came to Shirdi. He was very, very eager. When he landed in Shirdi, he was very, very eager to see Shirdi Baba in Dwarkamai. And then when the bullock cart arrived in front of the entrance of Dwarkamai, 3 persons went and lifted Bhimaji Patil because he cannot walk in TB, he cannot walk. And his worst case. So they lifted him and then landed him right in front of Shirdi Baba. And you will be very surprised. Shama was there, Chandorkar was there. And the 3 persons who lifted, they were standing in the Sabha Mandap. He told Shama, Shirdi Baba says, oh Shama, how many thieves will you bring and set upon me? Ye theek nahi hai kya? Ye theek hai kya? Is this proper? How many thieves will you set on me, oh Shama? In a very, very disconcerting way, Baba was saying, is this proper? Bhimaji was listening to that, and then he understood what he was meaning. He placed his head on Shirdi Baba's feet and said, oh my Deva, this is a very helpless man. Please show your compassion on me. I am very helpless. You are the only one, otherwise I am going to commit suicide. And then Shirdi Baba said, instantly, Shirdi Baba's anger transforms immediately. He meant something when he said that, why are you setting thieves on me? That's a different meaning. It's like stealing the rags. Why did you steal my rags? Very different meaning. Shirdi Baba's idioms are very different. It's not your English, Queen's English idioms. Baba says to Bhimaji, give up your mental anguish. There is no reason to worry. As soon as you put your feet in Shirdi, all your agonies are over. You are going to be all right in a matter of minutes, in a matter of days. In the next 2 days, you will feel extremely good. However deep the distress, however deep the calamity, one who enters this masjid, what is this? This is Masjid Mai. Am I right? This Masjid Mai, when you set your feet even today, all your worst diseases will be gone and you will become a very happy man. Therefore, now retire to the home of who? What's her name? Anybody? Bhima Bai. Bhimaji Patil is sent to Bhima Bai's home. When he went to Bhima Bai's home, immediately he couldn't even walk. He managed to walk all the way with somebody brought his bed, and then he saw the floor was just then applied with cow dung. It was washed with cow dung, and it was in those days, as is the want of in those days, all cow dung washed forts. And then it was very, very wet. Had he thought, he had several friends, had he thought he could have had a beautiful hotel room, he would have had a nice vada. But then Shirdi Baba's words are very, very important, and therefore he said, we have to stay here because Baba's words are the best words. He is the only one who is saving me, and therefore I am going to follow. He brought 2 sacks on the cow dung floor, and then there was a small bedding, and then he started sleeping. He was thinking deeply about Shirdi Baba, the first visit, breathtaking first visit. In the very few hours, the next hour, when he was sleeping, he had the first dream. He had 2 dreams that night. Look at his favoring devotee. In anxious time, how he favors. In the first dream, his elementary school teacher came and then started caning him. I'm not going to tell the story of my high school Shankaraya teacher's story. That's too humorous. For anxious times, in the next satsang, I'll tell you that story. In the dream, Bhimaji was beaten by the teacher for not reciting properly the Sati Dharma. The Sati Dharma relating to Pativrata, the woman who will go listen only to the husband, the woman who will always be with the husband, the woman who will not walk into the steps of a room where the husband is not there, blah, blah, so on and so forth. This is explained very well in Guru Charitra, right? We read in Guru Charitra, Pativrata story. That poem, Bhimaji Patil did not say properly when in the elementary school. He's an elderly man now, so the teacher is canning. The canning stopped. He was writhing in pain. Oh my God, this is very, very this thing. And that dream stopped, only to be followed by the second dream. In the second dream, one of the gentlemen, about 30, 40-year-old gentleman, he brought a steel roller. It is a stone roller, it's called, the muller. Stone roller, he put it straight on Bhimaji's chest. And then he started rolling, treating his chest as a slab. He started rolling the steel roll, and then there was enormous pain. He couldn't take that extreme pain. Now, this happened for about 10 minutes. Now, both the dreams ended. And Bhimaji Patil started sleeping very peacefully, no anxiety, very, very peacefully. And then when he awoke at the daybreak, he remembered the terrible dreams, but he was fully astonished that he didn't have the disease, terrible disease. TB was gone, completely gone. And then he stood up, with great energy. He never had any spasms, no blood, no vomits, nothing. Instead, he had a burst of energy. It's like Shirdi Baba gave him in the dream. This dream was not there. 2 bottles of Red Bull. You all know Red Bull, right? Baba didn't give him. But then he started walking, racing towards what? Nearby was the Masjid Mai, Dwarka Mai. He went to Dwarka Mai, he did a Sastanga Namaskar, and then Baba was very happy. He said, are you feeling all right? Did you sleep very well? After that, he stayed there in Shirdi for about a month. And then he started his entire life, he started visiting every month Shirdi Baba's. He had a peaceful darshan. The dreadful disease, much dreaded TB, never came to him back. If this is the way he took away the angst of who? Bhimaji Patil. There is the other story of Srimati Sita Devi. Mahatya, the very respected elder brother, gentleman, devotee, Ramachandra Atmaram Tharkad's wife is Sita Devi. Srimati Sita Devi went to several places, and then she went to Pir Maulana, the Badebai. He said, my Badebai is there because he couldn't cure. She had one very big problem. She used to get migraine headache. Look at the anxiety. Every week when the weather goes down, when it's raining, when it is too shiny, when there is a room lights are very bright, she used to get migraine headache. And she couldn't take it. When they went to this, the Muslim fakir, she has to completely change her dress with a burqa and all that. She went there with Jyotindra Ramachandra Tharkad, the elder son of Ramachandra Tharkar and Sita Devi. And then he said, my brother is there in Shirdi, you go there. He didn't know where to look for Shirdi. He took up a map and then it was in the Ahmednagar district. He went through the map with a magnifier. He found it's near Kopargaon, and then from Kopargaon it's 9 miles, and they have to take a jatka, horse-drawn carriage, or go by paidal, go by walk. He found out on a Friday, after taking permission from the big man, Arya Tarkad, they both started. They went to Kopargaon, and then in Kopargaon they washed their feet and hand in the southern Ganges, Godavari, and then reached the place where he was living there. When he went there, they didn't go anywhere. Sita Devi said, we will go straight to Dwarakamayi. The jatka stood in front of Dwarakamayi. They both alighted, paid the jatkawala, and then they got in. Shirdi Baba was looking, and then when she saw, their eyes locked. When their eyes locked, they were starting a conversation, very fruitful conversation. Jyotindra was a very young man, very boyish-looking young man. He didn't understand one word of conveyed through these looks. Sita Devi touched Shirdi Baba's feet. And then, oh mother, Baba says, oh mother, you have come. How was the journey? How do you feel? You get migraine headache, right? He didn't say migraine. You get severe headache every day, right? Every week, right? From this moment, you will not get this headache, migraine headache. So saying, he dipped in the Udi bundle he had. He dipped all his 5 fingers, and the Udi laden fingers, he hit Sita Devi's head, just like that he hit. And then he took the hands away. Before taking the hands, he was tightening his 5 fingers on her middle and forehead. And then while tightening his hands, he said, my dear mother, this disease will not affect you anymore. From this moment, this disease is gone from your head. I am ordering it to go, and therefore you will be free. And then he took his hands away. And Sita Devi was feeling, she didn't expect. She didn't even talk. She just touched his feet. I told you, right? Touched Shirdi Baba's feet. And then Jyotindra was watching. Jyotindra was thinking, my mother did not even open her mouth. My mother didn't even say a fact that we all know in the family. I didn't know, so it was shocking to Jyotindra. Remember, this was their first visit. Because they didn't know where is Shirdi, they didn't know Shirdi Baba. Pir Maulana Azad from Queen's Necklace, they had a big home, big mosque. He's the one who sent it. And then after this incident, Sita Devi, Srimati Sita Devi asked Jyotindra to fall flat at Shirdi Baba's feet and then do namaskar. Jyotindra says in his write-up, Jyotindra's father says, Jyotindra was very surprised. My father was very surprised. That is Jyotindra. My mother, he thought, has never ordered me to do anything before big Sadgurus or big Swamijis or big fakirs. This is the first time my mother is saying, you touch his feet and do namaskar. This is very peculiar of my mom. So he does touch, he does do namaskar. And then he does the namaskar. Jyotindra is waking up in complete awe because these 2 acts has never happened. He has never seen any miracles from this Sadguru, being the first visit. At that moment, Shirdi Baba puts his left hand in the coffin and then takes out, 1/4 of an anna. In those days, India had 1/4, a quarter anna, called kal anna, quarter anna. It will have a small hole in between. Like the restaurant vadas that you eat in Annapurna in your city. He took that quarter anna and then holding it in the hole, he said, dear Bhav, Bhav in Marathi means brother. Dear Bhav, do you remember this coin? Jyotindra squeezed his brain, but he couldn't find an answer. He answered in the negative. And then Baba says, squeeze your brain still further. Breathe through your brain. He said, no, I'm not getting any answer, Jyotindra said. To which Baba said, when you were a young child doing in the 2nd grade in front of a Regal theatre, you gave this coin to a fakir. A fakir came and asked for help. You gave this anna and then you went away from me. I blessed you with my hand on the head. Jyotindra immediately rang a very heavy, very nice bell. Yes, I gave it to the fakir. Baba says, this is the same fakir. I am the one who came in front of the Regal theatre. when you were 6 years old. This coin is yours. Take this coin back. Keep it in your puja room. And when you keep it, this will breed more money for you. In your life, you need more money. It's all right, your dad is making. He was, Ramachandra Atmaram Tarkad was making, his salary. He was making an awesome 3,000 rupees in a cloth mill. 3,000 rupees a month. When Shama was getting 3 rupees a month as a teacher, 3,000 rupees is like Raghu Mama has paid $1 million. Every month, not annual salary, as in the United States. Every month, $1 million, because your research is so much. A day will come, he will become a millionaire, I know that. It is the same Sadguru who is going to make him a millionaire, because he has to invent this he is doing an unenviable task, and then he has to invent a medicine for your eyes glaucoma. Only 2 teams are working on the planet. This is one of the teams. And therefore, Sita Devi and Jyotindra were very, very happy. And then happily they left the next day. And then both of them became addicted to Shirdi Sai. Because in anxious time, when anxiety strikes you, when you are on a roller coaster of anxiety and worry, there was this medicine called Shirdi Baba. There was this medicine called Dwarakamai, Masjid Mai. Where else do you have? Where do you have Dwarakamai these days, in these difficult times for coronavirus? COVID-19, like Dr. Fauci says, it may breed, we may face COVID. I don't want to say that, COVID-20, because it will mutate. Our Professor Mama knows, Raghu Mama, it mutates. When it mutates, the next generation of virus becomes not weaker, it becomes stronger. So you've got to have a better vaccine. Pfizer 2, right? Moderna 2. These times are very tough. Sita Devi underwent several miracles because she knew for moments of anxiety and worry, this is the only medicine, he is the only vaccine. They were using him as a vaccine. He never touched the human body. Mrs. Manager, he just looked. Her eyes were suffering from conjunctivitis, and then her eyes were swollen and red. Tears were trickling down her cheeks. She stood there, sat there in this thing, their eyes locked. Shirdi Baba and Mrs. Manager. Of the thousands of miracles, this is the first visit, and Mrs. Manager eyes started dropping the ears. There was no tears, and then the redness gone, and then in 5 minutes, in 5 seconds, Mrs. Manager didn't fail to see Shirdi Baba's eyes swollen, red, and tears were coming. To this day, and no ophthalmologist has explained how this happened. To this day, if there is an eye doctor, if there is an eye surgeon, there are several in my mission. If anybody can explain how Shirdi Baba took this disease and stopped in a devotee's eyes, let me know. I'll recommend him for Nobel Prize. Let him tell me a medical reason. There is none. Mrs. Manager was going through enormous anxiety because she had this virus, this bacteria affecting her eyes, and she went there hoping that Shirdi Baba is the only panacea, right? Is the only antidote, and therefore she got that. And then her life was full of miracles. Shirdi Baba's several avatars, or rather, Dattatraya's several avatars. One of them is Shirdi Baba. Another is Shri. Anybody here? Shri Narasimha Saraswati, right? Shri Pada Shri Vallabha. You'll be reading so many this thing. You'll be reading the stories of Jesus Christ. You'll be reading the stories of other religions. But then look at this. Narasimha Saraswati was none other than, he became Shirdi Baba later, right? For 300 years, for 800 years, Narasimha Saraswati lived, is still living in Kashi, Varanasi. He is still living there. Nobody has seen, probably, no living human being has ever seen Sri Narasimha Saraswati, except perhaps the speaker. I was blessed by him, Sri Narasimha Saraswati, once. But then here, the story of the Brahmin at Brahmeshwara Kshetra, which is on the banks of Godavari. This story is very classic. Narasimha Saraswati reached this place, this particular place, from Manjarika, he came to this particular place called Vasar Brahmeshwara, which is called Brahmeshwara Kshetra. This is also on the banks of Godavari. When he was going around, he saw one Brahmin near that river. And the Brahmin was suffering from very severe stomachache for eons, for years. He didn't know how to do that. Narasimha Saraswati just had a look at him, and then by virtue of his omniscience, by virtue of his being God, he had several siddhis, enormous siddhis. He just understood what he is going to do. And therefore he walked close to that Brahmin and said, "What are you suffering from? Why are you going to end your life?" To which the Brahmin said, "I can't take this pain anymore. I have lived with excruciating pain. I could not eat yesterday. Entire day yesterday I have lived without any food. And today also I didn't take any food. Because the moment food goes in, I get unbearable choking pain in the stomach. Call it ulcer pain. Call it some other pain. Call it stones in the gallbladder, like doctors will understand." He had pain. And therefore he was going there. He told Sri Narasimha Saraswati, "I was going to get a big rock around the towel, and then go into the river and drown myself because I can't live anymore." And then, hearing this misery, Narasimha Saraswati told him, comforted him by saying that he had a panacea. "I have a panacea for you. So, a very unique remedy for you. So don't end your life today. You go through this panacea, go through this medicine." Is a medicine for the Brahmin's angst, which is anxiety, worry, because he couldn't live. You need not have the stomach pain to understand what the Brahmin was going through, right? You don't have to go through cancer to understand the cancer patient. Definitely you don't have to go through COVID-19, quarantine, all these things to understand quarantine and this thing. How can anybody quarantine in these days? Right from the anchor person, Margaret, to you, everybody's blah, 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 blah. You have to keep on talking. In COVID times, you are not supposed to talk. And therefore, he told there is a remedy. When he was talking about the unique remedy, the village officer came, the village officer whose name was Sayamdev. Sayamdev came there, and then Sayamdev saw Narasimha Saraswati. When he saw him, he immediately did Sashtang Namaskar. He started reading his poems. He started singing praise, his poems on Sri Narasimha Saraswati. And then he woke up and then he touched his feet. And then Narasimha Saraswati was very happy. He was a very great devotee, Sayamdev, the village officer of that village called Brahmeshwara Kshetra. That's the name of that small town village. And he was talking with still the Brahmin. And Sri Sayamdev, the village officer, asked him to ask Narasimha Saraswati to bless him with his bhiksha. "Please come to my home tomorrow for lunch. You please come." And then Narasimha Saraswati said, "I'll come on one condition. I'll bring this Brahmin. This suffering Brahmin will come with me." To which Sayamdev was looking at the Brahmin and reverentially looking at Sri Narasimha Saraswati and said, "This Brahmin, if I feed him all those bhiksha food, very rich food, several variety of food, this Brahmin will die. Because yesterday he didn't eat. The previous day he didn't eat. And then for the last several days he is eating only very little morsel of food. And if I feed him tomorrow, he might die. And then if he dies, I'll be brahmacharya dosha. It's rather brahmacharya, brahmahatya dosha, because I am killing him, right? So he is supplicating to Narasimha Saraswati, "How can I do this?" To which comes the straight answer from our Sadguru, Shirdi Baba, who is Narasimha Saraswati here. He says, "None of these things will happen. Please call the Brahmin." Fast forward to the next day. They all go there. Narasimha Saraswati goes with his disciples, 3 or 4, all these people in his mission, and then along with this Brahmin who is suffering from ulcer, stomach ulcer, severe ulcer. That's why he's getting the pain. And then the food starts, he's just giving all the food on the plate and on the palm leaf. And then the Brahmin starts eating most sumptuously and with great gusto and relief. Gusto and relish. He eats with relish, right? He starts eating everything that is given to him. And then Sayam Dev is looking at the Brahmin eating, and then his face doesn't show signs of the stomach pain. And then he keeps on eating, therefore there is no stomach pain. And therefore at the end of the meal, he is just doing a Sashtanga Namaskar to Narasimha Saraswati. And then Narasimha Saraswati says, now your stomach pain is completely gone. You go and bring your wife and children and live in my place, Ganagapur. His place is where he stayed for, I think, 12 years or maybe 14 years. Narasimha Saraswati stayed for 12, 14 years in Ganagapur. He says, you come and stay with us. The Brahmin goes and brings his family. And then Narasimha Saraswati's Guru Charitra says that Brahmin's family lived forever happily. I told this story because Shirdi Baba as Sadguru he did thousands and thousands of miracles, millions of miracles. He is doing it even right now as I am talking. He must be doing in several families. And in his previous incarnation as Narasimha Saraswati, he did these things. This is the story of the Brahmin on the banks of Godavari. Even today, when you are going to Shirdi, if you are going on the banks of Godavari, where I have been waiting for my Sadguru for eons, I have seen him several times, several janmas I have been with him, but banks of Godavari, I will stay forever. There is a beautiful poem in Tamil. I can tell you the English version, but then the Tamil version, despite your lack of knowledge of Tamil, is beautiful. Ni oru naal varum varayil naan iruppen nadikkarayil. That is Godavari. Until you come, Sri Narasimha Saraswati, until you come and bless me, Sri Shirdi Baba, Sri Sripada Sri Vallabha, I will wait for you. Ni varum varai, until you come, naan iruppen nadikkarayil. It's a lover song, but it's a beautiful lyrics written by Poet Laureate. I will wait there on the banks of Godavari until you come. My life story is one such thing. I've been waiting on the banks of Godavari, the southern Ganges, waiting for all these Sadgurus, forever and ever. But then, Srimati Rajeshwari could not wait. She is supposed to be the daughter of Shirdi Baba. Shirdi Baba, his brothers, sisters, parents, no one knows until this day. Srimati Rajeshwari was the sister. I can tell you the name, but that will be going off the tangent. When she was living there in those times, 110 years ago, that Srimati Rajeshwari was born again in Chennai. She was living in an area called Mandavali Pakam. You have seen that area, right? You have seen her. You both have seen her. Of course, my wife has seen. Srimati Rajeshwari's mother was Shirdi Baba's mother. It has been proved in the Nadi, not by horoscopes and all that, not by palmistry. In the Nadi it says she was in the previous Janma, she was Shirdi Baba's mother. So let's believe Shiva Nadi, the very powerful Nadi. Agastya Nadi is one of the most powerful Nadis. It says she was the mother and therefore she was living there. She passed away. She is called a Baba, grandmother, Baba Party. She passed away and then Rajeshwari was living there with her husband in Mandavali, Chennai. After their passing away one day, Rajeshwari got a very strange dream in which her mother was standing on both sides, with one side Satya Sai Baba, on the other side Shirdi Baba. And then Shirdi Baba was telling her, for your Sashti Apta Purti, you buy 15,000 rupees of gold. Shirdi Baba said that. The mother and Satya Sai Baba, like Brahma and Vishnu in one of your Tamil serials, right? Kali serial. They are watching very happily. Shirdi Baba said this and all the three of them vanished. Where will she go for 15,000 rupees? Next day, her husband's pension was hardly 170, 200 rupees. This is about 25 years ago or 20 years ago. And she was wondering, she didn't know where to go. And then 2 days later, at 4 a.m., the milkmen in Chennai, in southern cities, usually come by 4:30 in the morning and then sell the milk and then go. You will usually come in a cycle and then with all the tins carrying milk. 2 days later, Rajeshwari gets a doorbell. She goes there to have this thing. She opens the door. She finds thought she's a milkman. He's a milkman. There's an auto. The auto driver is there, and there is a tall gentleman there. A very fair and very tall gentleman, 6'4.5" or 6'5", and then that 6'4.5" is very, very fair. He comes out of this thing, and Rajeshwari is half asleep. She is showing the vessel, and then into the vessel the gentleman drops some things. Rajeshwari thinks it is milk. She thinks it is Paul in Tamil. So she gets the milk and then goes inside. It is still an envelope. She looks at the person. What, the milkman is so fair and he's wearing a nice dress and he's 6 feet. Our milkman in Chennai, hardly 5'4", 5'5". And they'll be wearing a t-shirt only. This is very well attired and he's so fair. Tamil Nadu milkman? I have not seen any fair milkman. If you have seen, please raise your hand. And then she goes inside, starts the stove, and then puts the vessel right over there. At the time, she puts the lights on. She sees the envelope. She runs to the front door to see the auto. There is no auto. There is no white man. The white man, while giving the milk, says, I'm coming from Australia. He's an Australian. And then she goes there. Who is that gentleman? She comes back, puts the stove off. By the time the envelope is a little bit roasted, the vessel is roasted, the envelope is still there. She takes the envelope and just opens the envelope, and then she finds brand new Federal Reserve. No, in India it's called Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India notes totaling 15,000 rupees. For 2 days she lived with anxiety, because where will I go for 15,000 rupees? Here comes the milkman, a tall Australian, in an auto, and then hands over at 4:21 a.m. 15,000 rupees, and then they're absconding, they vanished. Rajeshwari, when she told me the story, it was videoed by this gentleman, devotee, and then she said, I really don't know, I had 15,000 rupees 2 days before. Shirdi Baba said, buy gold for 15,000 rupees, and then this is the money he sent. Nobody could have sent because it doesn't have a from address. It's a beautiful envelope, lovely notes, real notes. She went and bought gold the same day. For anxiety and for worries, Srimati Rajeshwari always depended on Shirdi Baba. Because she was Shirdi Baba's sister, the Nadi says in her previous Janma. Her mother, Baba Pati, Baba grandmother, was none other than Shirdi Baba's mother, respectable mother. And therefore, Rajeshwari even today is very grateful. And then she knows in times of worry, he is the one. He is the only panish. He is the only antidote. Let me finish up with a story of a very famous devotee now living in one of the cities in the Bible Belt of United States. She went to Shirdi. She was a devotee only from 2010. In 2010, how Shirdi Baba came into her life, I am not getting into. Every page, every annal, every book of her life in the last 10 years is full of raw miracles done by Shirdi Baba. She is in my mission, of course. She gives me the credit, but then I give the credit to the Sadguru here. I give the credit to Narasimha Saraswati, Shripa, Shivallabha, any number of Sadgurus that you know, I give them the credit. Now this is Shirdi Baba, I give the credit to. She went to Shirdi, December 15th, 2015. She asked me, Mama, what do you want from Shirdi? Mama's only reply is, yeah, buy a very huge golden Shirdi Baba statue worth $3.5 million. No. Bring a great shawl worn by Shirdi Baba himself. I don't ask for it. Mama is asking for only what? One thing, Udi. Go to the Udi hall, bring me lots of Udi. She knows that she has to bring me enormous number of Udis. She is standing, she went there, she was in the queue, she had a great darshan, and then from the Samadhi Mandir, she alights the steps and then goes into the hall. It is called the Puja Hall. The Vibhuti Hall is next to the Puja Hall. The Puja Hall is there. There is a big queue. That queue from Puja Hall nestles to the Udi Hall. And then there is a long queue. They are waiting there. And then while waiting, she is thinking, I want a lot of Udi for Mamaji. She calls me Mamaji. Mamaji wants lots of Udi, and that's the only thing he wants from India and Shirdi, and therefore she is inquiring, and everybody is saying, we will give you only one packet. After standing for 35-40 minutes, you will get one packet. That does not satisfy this great devotee. She is a PhD. She has lots of knowledge on chemistry and doing research on cancer. She is on a medicine to prevent cancer in this country and on the face of the world. Standing there, she is wondering, and then after some time, you get one packet. The gentleman says, you go back on the line and then come back again for the next packet. But Mama wants about ton of Udi. How many times? I'll have to spend the rest of my life, 1 year in Shirdi. So thinking, she is just walking outside the queue. She comes into the Udi hall, somewhere near the side entrance of the puja hall is facing the Udi hall. When she went, this was the arrangement, not necessarily every day. She comes to the Udi hall, and then a gentleman, yes, I saw a gentleman coming towards me. He was dressed impeccably, but then he was dressed in the same uniform as other Shirdi temple, Shirdi Baba son workers, same dress. He had a very beautiful, nice haircut. He was dark complexioned, and then he had a very white, fair, like pomegranate-like teeth, very white teeth. It was shining because he was dark. And then when he came near me, he stopped. He came very close to me. He started smiling at me, and therefore he looked at my concerned expression. He said, what is the matter? You come with me. He didn't ask, she didn't say, I am waiting for Udi, Mamaji wants Udi, nothing, none of the stories. He just said, come with me. And then he took her near the Udi hall entrance on the side door, the side entrance of the puja hall. He goes there, and Srimati Geeta Manta, that's her name, PhD, she is watching. Inside, this gentleman goes, and there is a loud conversation, deliberately by this gentleman, I don't know. Loud conversation, he is talking something, she couldn't decipher what they are talking, it's very loud. After that, he comes back, and then he says, come near the fountain. There is a fountain in Shirdi nearby. Says, come to the fountain. Please follow me, don't talk. And then they go to the fountain. Near the fountain, he removes from his hand a huge bag, and it is given to, and then Dr. Geeta Manta, tells her husband, who is Dr. Venkat, he is a medical doctor, MD, to take that bag. He takes the bag. He is a very lean and thin, wonderful devotee. He finds it, oh my God, it's a ton of Vibhuti packets for Mamaji. He takes it, and then while taking, hands it over to his wife, Geeta ji. By the time both of them turn, this gentleman is walking fast into the crowd, and then he vanishes. Ever since this miracle, she understood the miracle. She wrote to me long emails. I have seen her after this miracle. She went very eloquent. But then there were number of times of anxiety in her life after this, and every time she has depended. She is even having a locket of Shirdi Baba. That is 2010. Ever since Baba, she goes to Baba for removing all the anxiety. And her life has seen enough of it, and in every moment of anxiety, Shirdi Baba has come to her help and then boosted her life. He is like a booster, she says, in these difficult times of C-19, she says it's like a booster vaccine, not an ordinary vaccine. He is the booster. Call it a second Pfizer vaccine after 28. Is it 28 days? Yes. Moderna is after 21 days, the second booster shot. So he is like a booster shot, she says. And then the number of miracles that Shirdi Baba has done in Geeta Manta's life is countless. I think of the 1/3 of the papers that I have in my mission room, right? Do we have a mission room? Or we have a media room? I call it mission room. In that room, half the papers belong. 1/3 of the papers is only Dr. Geeta Manta's life and the Shirdi Baba's miracles. If I tell you all the miracles, 2021 will go, December, Christmas, and then happy 2022. So before that happens, I wish you all once again a very happy new year. And then in the new year, think of this doctor, He has the best vaccine. You need not have even Pfizer vaccine or Moderna or Lilly or AstraZeneca. So many people, so many Europeans, so many in India. You just need the booster shot from this Sadguru. When you get the booster shot, all the viruses in your body which is already there, flu virus and blah blah virus, everything will run away from your body, leaving the good bacteria in your intestine, right? Yeah, the good bacteria he will leave. He knows. So let's all come to him in the new year. And therefore, with that wish, to thousands and thousands and millions of devotees, I wish you a happy new year and remain close to his feet. That's the only antidote for all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Om Shri Dwarkamai.